This is a pocket-sized Moleskine Classic Collection notebook. It's a humble thing, but the impact it has is far from that. I take it with me everywhere, like my phone. In fact, I'm currently trying to replace my phone with it. It goes in my pocket with my phone, but one thing I noticed was that bringing around a pen was a little bit finicky. The pen always slides out of my pocket or accidentally clicks and leaves ink stains on my shorts. So I made this little pen holder thing out of electric tape, and it works perfectly by holding the pen fast to the notebook. By the way, the pen is a Parker Jotter ballpoint pen. I didn't realize I was buying one with blue ink when I bought it, and I hate blue ink, but I'm just gonna use it until it runs out. This pen is super reliable, and I prefer to bring it around over fountain pens and gel pens because 1, it writes on literally everything since ballpoint pen ink is oil-based instead of water-based like gel pen. 2, it's super reliable. It never skips like some of my gel pens. 3, it's really small and almost exactly the same height as the notebook, so it's not a chore to bring it around. And lastly, ballpoint pens, since they're oil-based, dry much quicker, almost instantly as soon as you write with it. So since I'm a lefty, that's great. Okay, so what's actually in this notebook? I've only recently started filling it out, but basically, I write pretty much anything that my brain thinks of in this notebook. This can go from to-do lists to random things that I just think of during the day, or to things that I observe during the day and I can offer my commentary on it. But what takes up the most space in here is the little ideas I have. And I hate to call them philosophical because I'm not a philosopher. I'm just a senior in high school. But that's pretty much what they are. For example, this one about good decisions that came up when I was reading 12 Rules for Life. 500 decisions per day. How many of them can be made to better myself and my current condition, to advance myself from the undesirable place I am now to the desirable place I'm aiming at? Could I track them, then add one more every day? Quantitative progress? What if all 500 decisions were made to better myself? So it's just little ideas I have throughout the day, and I jot them all down, and I can go back and read them. I love this notebook because it allows me to do 5 things. Number 1, it forces me to have thoughts that are worth writing down. I used to not think about things that I now have written in this notebook, but once I started carrying it around, I needed to justify having a thing this size in my pocket, so I started thinking more deeply, even when there's seemingly nothing to think about. Number 2, it replaces screen time with introspection time. Instead of pulling out my phone during downtime, I just pull out this notebook. Reading through my thoughts and the thoughts that past Joshua had is super enlightening. It's a really powerful thing being able to see exactly what you thought, when you thought it, and what might have caused that thought to come about. 3, it allows me to more carefully evaluate events that happen around me. In the past, when I read something or heard something worth writing down, I would just say, wow, that's a writing down worthy statement, and go on about my day. But now I can really write it down, and I can offer commentary on it and what I think about it. It allows me to be more intentional about what I hear and how I choose to apply it to my life. Number 4, it helps me remember stuff. Every day, I'll randomly remember something that I need to do in the middle of the day. And if I don't have time to do it right then, I used to offload that task to my brain to remind me later somehow. My brain never reminds me again. So I began using reminders on my phone. But one thing I hate about reminders is that it's really clunky. I just want to be reminded that I need to do X, but it takes like a minute to do that. Plus, when I open my phone, I'm bombarded with notifications and app icons begging for my attention. How many times have you opened your phone to do something and then completely forgotten what that was, only to remember once you're 20 reels deep on Instagram? When I have my notebook, it's as simple as pulling it out and writing down exactly what I want, with no technical limitations. If I wanted to, I could make something take up the whole page, or it could be in the little corner. I'm also guaranteed to look through it later because I'm trying to replace my phone with it. So there's no need to worry about missing something if I do write it in here. Finally, number 5, it acts as another capture system for my second brain. Obsidian's great, and it's the perfect software for a second brain. But one thing I hate about it is how awful it is to add a quick note from my phone. So when I have a thought, I just write it in my notebook, which also cements it in my brain because writing fundamentally differs from typing or speaking into something just because of the way that engages your motor functions. Then I can later offload this from the notebook into Obsidian, into my second brain system. I do this during the designated time in the evening that I set aside to kind of migrate everything into my online system. So why should you believe me and invest $15 to $20 in this thing? First, I've been using it for about a week now, and I'm already seeing the benefits of it. It allows me to introspect throughout the day, and the benefits that brings are amazing. Going back and seeing my ideas is enlightening because I remember great ideas I had, and I can immediately try to apply them. It's also enlightening because I can see how wrong or idiotic I was in a specific entry and try to distance myself from that also immediately. Secondly, I'm a sucker for writing pens and notebooks and all that stuff. And if you are too, then you'll love this. It's an excuse to write and actually fill up a notebook anytime you have free time. Thirdly, in conjunction with reading good literature, this book allows me to practice being eloquent in the way I phrase ideas and thought. And I find that the eloquence that I practice in this notebook often translates to the way I speak, which is certainly desirable. Finally, it replaces this thing, straight from the pit of hell, with something good, something worth my time, and something that, instead of frying my brain, makes new connections in it, actively making me more thoughtful, attentive, and more self-aware.